There is a part of the matron's bell legend that nobody talks about. The truth about why she still rings that bell every midnight in boarding schools across West Africa. Ding dong ding. She walks through dormitory halls, her keys jangling softly, checking on students who will never wake up again. But before she became the nightmare that haunts boarding schools, she was just Mama Adunni, a woman whose love for children would become her eternal curse. Mama Adunni was not like other matrons. While most boarding school matrons were stern disciplinarians who ruled with iron fists, Mama Adunni brought warmth to the cold dormitories of St. Catherine's Girls' Boarding School in rural Nigeria. She had worked there for 15 years, and every girl who passed through those halls knew her gentle voice and caring hands. Unlike the other staff who saw their jobs as mere employment, Mama Adunni saw herself as a surrogate mother to over 300 girls aged 10 to 18. She knew each girl by name, remembered their birthdays, and kept a secret stash of sweets for homesick students who cried themselves to sleep. "Mama Adunni, I miss my mother," little Kemi would whisper during late night rounds. "Come here, my child," Mama Adunni would say, sitting on the narrow bed and stroking Kemi's hair. "Your mother's love travels through the wind. Can you feel it?" Mama Adunni had never been blessed with children of her own. 3 miscarriages had left her womb empty, but her heart overflowing with maternal love that she poured into every girl under her care. Her husband had left her years ago, unable to bear the constant grief of their lost babies. The boarding school became her home, and these girls became her daughters. Every evening at 9 p.m. sharp, Mama Adunni would ring her brass bell, a gift from her grandmother to signal lights out. The sound would echo through the dormitories, followed by her gentle love. "Sleep well, my daughters. Mama is watching over you." The girls loved her dearly. She was the one who smuggled extra food to those whose parents forgot to send provisions. She was the one who held fevered heads during sick spells and wrote letters to parents when girls were struggling academically. She was their protector, their comfort, and their second mother. But Mama Adunni had one weakness. She trusted too easily. The trouble began when the school hired a new principal, Mr. Emeka Okafor. He was a thin, sharp-faced man with cold eyes who spoke of modernizing the school and increasing profit margins. From his first day, he looked at Mama Adunni with barely concealed disgust. "These girls are too comfortable," he announced during a staff meeting. "They think this is their home instead of an institution. We need discipline, not coddling." Mama Adunni felt her heart sink. "Sir, these children are away from their families. A little kindness is what makes them weak." Okafor cut her off. "Your methods are outdated, Mama Adunni. These girls need to learn that life is hard." Slowly, Okafor began implementing changes. Meal portions were reduced to save cost. Study hours were extended. Punishment became harsher. But what bothered Mama Adunni most was his new rule about the evening bell. "No more of this 9 p.m. nonsense," he declared. "Light out is at 8 p.m. and no more walking through the dormitories. These girls need to learn independence." "But sir, the younger ones get scared in the dark. They need to grow up," Okafor snapped. "And you need to learn your place." Despite the new rules, Mama Adunni continued her nightly rounds in secret. She would wait until Okafor left the school premises, then quietly make her way through the dormitories, checking on her girls. She stopped ringing the bell. Too risky, but she still whispered her traditional goodnight. "Sleep well, my daughters. Mama is watching over you." The girls noticed the changes too. 12-year-old Fumi started wetting her bed from anxiety. 15-year-old Grace began having panic attacks. The atmosphere in the school grew tense and fearful. That's when Mama Adunni discovered Okafor's true nature. One night, during her secret rounds, she heard crying from the principal's office. Following the sound, she peered through a crack in the door and gasped in horror. Okafor had young Blessing, a quiet 13-year-old from a poor family, cornered against his desk. "Please, sir, I didn't do anything wrong," Blessing whimpered. "You failed your tests," Okafor said, his voice sickeningly sweet. "But I can help you pass, if you're a good girl." Mama Adunni's blood boiled. She burst through the door like an evening angel. "Get away from her!" she roared, positioning herself between Blessing and Okafor. Okafor's face twisted with rage. "How dare you? This is none of your business." "Every child in this school is my business," Mama Adunni declared, her voice shaking with fury. "Blessing, go back to your dormitory, now." The girl ran, but Mama Adunni knew the damage was done. She had seen too much and Okafor knew it. "You have made a terrible mistake," Okafor said quietly, his voice full of menace. "A terrible, terrible mistake." The next morning, Mama Adunni was summoned to the principal's office. She found Okafor sitting behind his desk with two other men, school board members she recognized. "Gentlemen," Okafor began smoothly, "I am afraid we have a serious problem. Our matron has been inappropriate with the students." Mama Adunni's world tilted. "What? That's a lie." "Several girls have come forward," one board member said, looking uncomfortable. "They say you've been touching them inappropriately during your night rounds." "That's impossible. I would never." Adunni's voice cracked with horror. "We have witness statements," Okafor continued, pulling out a folder. "And these photos." The photos were cleverly doctored. Innocent moments of Mama Adunni comforting crying girls, but cropped and angled to look sinister. Her hand on a girl's shoulder looked possessive. Her sitting on a bed looked predatory. "This is a setup," Mama Adunni whispered, understanding flooding through her. "You are doing this because I saw what you tried to do to Blessing." "I don't know what you are talking about," Okafor said with mock innocence. "Are you now adding delusions to your crimes?" The board members looked increasingly uncomfortable. These were serious allegations and the photos, while circumstantial, were damning. "Pack your things," one board member said quietly. "We are calling the police and we'll have to inform all the parents." Mama Adunni felt her heart shatter. These girls she had loved and protected for 15 years would now think she was a monster. Their trust, their love, their faith in her, all destroyed by lies. "Please," she begged, tears streaming down her face. "Let me speak to the girls. Let me explain." "Absolutely not," Okafor said firmly. "You are not to go near those children ever again." As Mama Adunni packed her meager belongings, girls peered at her through doorways and windows. Some looked confused, others frightened. A few of the older girls who had known her longest looked heartbroken, as if they couldn't reconcile the Mama Adunni they loved with the monster she was accused of being. Little Kemi, now 14, ran up to her as she walked toward the school gate. "Mama Adunni, is it true? Did you really do those things?" Mama Adunni knelt down, her heart breaking at the confusion and betrayal in the child's eyes. "My daughter," she whispered, "I have loved every one of you like my own children. That love was pure and true. Remember that." But she could see the doubt in Kemi's eyes, planted there by Okafor's poison. Mama Adunni returned to a small village in disgrace. Word had spread quickly. In small communities, scandal travels faster than good news. Neighbors who had once respected her now crossed the street to avoid her. Children ran from her in fear. Our own family disowned her. How could you bring such shame on our name? Her brother demanded. You are no sister of mine. Mama Adunni tried to find work, but who would hire someone accused of child abuse? She grew thin and haggard, surviving on scraps and the occasional kind of strangers who didn't know her story. But the worst torture was letters. Somehow, Okafor made sure she received updates about her girls. He sent her newspaper clippings about their achievements, their graduations, their awards, but he also sent darker news. Young Blessing, the girl she had tried to protect, had committed suicide 6 months after Mama Adunni's departure. The note mentioned, things too terrible to speak about and no one to protect us anymore. 3 other girls had dropped out of school mysteriously. 2 more had been hospitalized for nervous breakdowns. And all through it all, Okafor's poison continued to work. Letters from some of the girls began arriving. Not letters of support, but letters of accusation and hatred. How could you? Wrote one girl she had once comforted through homesickness. We trusted you and you were a predator all along. I feel sick remembering how you used to hug us, wrote another. Were you thinking dirty thoughts the whole time? Each letter was a dagger to Mama Adunni's heart. The children she had loved more than life itself now saw her as a monster. The pure love she had given them had been twisted into something ugly and tainted. On a cold rainy night, exactly 1 year after her dismissal, Mama Adunni sat in a tiny shack, holding her grandmother's brass bell, the only possession she had left from her days as a matron. My daughters, she whispered to the empty room, I failed to protect you. I failed to save you from the real monster. She rang the bell one last time. Ding, dong, ding. The sound that had once brought comfort to hundreds of girls. Then she tied a rope around the bell and her neck and stepped off the chair. Her last thought was of all her girls, hoping that in death she might finally find a way to protect them. But death was not the end for Mama Adunni. In the realm between worlds, she found herself face to face with the spirits of children. Not just her girls, but all children who had suffered at the hands of those men to protect them. Your love was pure, they told her. But your work is not finished. The predators still hunt. The innocent still suffer. Will you accept the burden of eternal vigilance? Yes, Mama Adunni said without hesitation. I will protect them. Always. The spirits bound her soul to her brass bell, transforming her into something more than human but less than divine. A guardian spirit compelled to watch over children in boarding schools, forever searching for predators and protectors alike. Back at St. Catherine's, strange things began happening immediately after Mama Adunni's death. Okafor's reign of terror intensified without Mama Adunni dare to interfere. But now, his victims began reporting strange dreams. Dreams of a kind woman with a brass bell who whispered warnings and comfort. Don't trust him, the woman in the dreams would say. Tell someone. Fight back. The first manifestation came during Okafor's attempt to assault 14-year-old Chioma in his office. As his hands reached for the terrified girl, the sound of a bell echoed through the room. Ding, dong, ding. The temperature dropped suddenly. Okafor's breath came out in visible puffs as frost began forming on the windows. What's happening? He gasped, backing away from Chioma. That's when they both saw her. Mama Adunni, translucent but unmistakable, standing in the corner of the office. Her eyes glowed with supernatural fury, and in her hand, she held the brass bell. "Stay away from my daughter!" Mama Adunni's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. Okafor screamed, but no sound came out. His body seized up, paralyzed by supernatural terror. Chioma, protected by Mama Adunni's presence, calmly walked out of the office and went straight to the nearest teacher to report what Okafor had tried to do. From that night forward, Matron's bell was heard throughout St. Catherine's and eventually boarding schools across West Africa. The bell always rang at midnight, ding dong ding, followed by the soft jangle of keys as Mama Adunni resumed her eternal rounds. Students learned to listen for the patterns. 3 slow rings meant for comfort was coming for a homesick or frightened child. Rapid, urgent ringing meant danger. A predator was near. A single mournful toll meant Mama Adunni was mourning another child she couldn't save in time. Okafor lasted only 3 more weeks after the first manifestation. Every night, Mama Adunni appeared to him, showing him visions of every child he had harmed, every innocence he had stolen. She forced him to feel their pain, their fear, their betrayal. "Please," he begged during his final encounter with her spirit, "I will confess. I will tell everyone what I did to you, what I did to them." "Too late," Mama Adunni replied, her voice like wind through a graveyard. "Blessing is dead because of you. How many others suffered because I wasn't there to protect them?" Okafor was found the next morning, his hair turned completely white, his mind shattered. He spent his remaining days in a psychiatric facility, mumbling about bells and the matron who wouldn't let him rest. But Mama Adunni's vengeance extended beyond revenge. At boarding schools across the region, predatory teachers, cruel administrators, and abusive staff members began reporting the same phenomenon: the midnight bell, the ghostly matron, and the crushing weight of supernatural justice. Meanwhile, vulnerable students found themselves protected in ways they couldn't explain. Bullies would suddenly develop inexplicable fears of their victims. Predators would find themselves exposed at crucial moments. Cruel staff members would experience mysterious accidents that left them humbled but alive. Warnings to change their ways. Today, the legend of the Matron's Bell has spread to everybody in school in West Africa and beyond. Students and staff all know the rules. If you hear the bell at midnight and you've been kind to the children, you have nothing to fear. If you hear the rapid ringing, protect the nearest child. Danger is coming. If you are the danger, pray for forgiveness before Mama Adunni finds you. At Mary Hill Girls Secondary School in Ghana, 17-year-old Akosua was about to give up. The math teacher, Mr. Asante, had been demanding sexual favors in exchange for passing grades, and she was too ashamed to tell anyone. That night, as she contemplated ending her life, she heard it, ding dong ding. A gentle presence filled her room, and though she couldn't see anyone, she felt maternal arms around her shoulders. "My daughter," a voice whispered, "you are not alone. You are not powerless. Tomorrow you will find the strength to speak." The next morning, Akosua found a recording device on her desk, an old cassette recorder that hadn't been there the night before. Somehow, she knew what to do. When Mr. Asante made his usual demands, the recorder captured every word. When Akosua played it for the principal, her courage inspired 3 other girls to come forward with their own stories. Mr. Asante was arrested and jailed. The girls received counseling and support, and that night, a single joyful bell toll echoed through the dormitories. Mama Adunni celebrating another child saved. But here is what nobody talks about. Why does Mama Adunni's bell still ring in schools where no predators lurk? Why do kind teachers and loving matrons also report seeing her? The truth is both beautiful and tragic. Mama Adunni has become something unprecedented in supernatural lore, a spirit trapped not by revenge but by love. She cannot rest because her maternal heart cannot bear to leave any child unprotected. In schools where she finds genuine love and care, she appears not as a terrifying specter but as a blessing. Teachers report feeling a warm presence during difficult moments with troubled students. Kind matrons speak of a gentle voice whispering solutions to problems they couldn't solve alone. At Sacred Heart Academy in Sierra Leone, the current matron, Sister Mary, has learned to walk alongside Mama Adunni's spirit. I hear her bell every night, Sister Mary admits, but I am not afraid. Sometimes I feel her guiding my steps towards a child who needs extra attention. She shows me things I might have missed, the quiet ones suffering in silence, the brave ones hiding their pain. The legend of the matron's bell teaches us that true love never dies. It transforms. Mama Adunni's story is a reminder that those who dedicate their lives to protecting children leave an imprint on the world that transcends death. But it is also a warning. In a world where children are vulnerable, where boarding schools can become hunting grounds for predators, Mama Adunni's spirit serves as both protector and avenger. The bell rings on, night after night, in boarding schools across Africa and beyond. Some hear it as a lullaby of protection. Others hear it as a death knell of justice. Students still whisper our traditional good night, now transformed into a prayer of protection. Sleep well, my brothers and sisters. Mama Adunni is watching over us. And somewhere in the space between worlds, a loving spirit continues our eternal rounds, brass bell in hand, ensuring that no child suffers alone in the darkness. Ding, dong, ding. Can you hear it? The matron's bell still rings, and Mama Adunni is still watching. The bell tolls not for vengeance alone, but for eternal love. The love of a mother who refused to let death end her duty to protect the innocent.